One of Taiwan's 12 remaining diplomatic allies, Palau is a tiny nation with a population of fewer than 20,000 people. That makes the country in the Western Pacific Ocean, even smaller than an average borough in Taiwan. I'm Victoria Jen, CNA's Taiwan correspondent. I recently visited Palau. While there, I witnessed the efforts and resources that have been poured in by Taiwan to keep the island country on its side. This amid China's expanding reach in the region. Palau is known to be the paradise of the Pacific. As one of the world's smallest countries, its total land area of 466 square kilometers is about 2/3 that of Singapore. For the last 16 years, a medical team from Taiwan has been stationed here, providing technical assistance to locals. Backed by Taiwan's Xinguang Wuhuoshi Memorial Hospital, it holds a special place in the heart of 35-year-old Palauian diver Ray. Ray once suffered a serious infection in his left foot, and local doctors told him that he would not be able to keep it. Just as he was about to give up, the medical team from Taiwan gave him a different diagnosis. They saved his foot.
I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for the team that came here. To be honest, without them, maybe I would have lost the foot.
Fractured ligament will cause the spine cord stenosis.
Among Taiwan medical team members is Dr. Chen Zhenguang, a 42-year-old orthopedist.
他们最缺乏的，我觉得还是专业人员这部分。所以他们其实有一些东西其实也蛮新的，但是就是没有人来用，或者是没有人来提供这些方面的协助。
Taiwan's medical team has so far dispatched more than 300 medical staff to Palau and treated over 10,000 patients. Medical assistance, along with other support from agriculture to animal farming, are some of the ways that Taiwan has been using to keep Palau and other diplomatic allies on its side. While Taiwan authorities decline to confirm, media reports say that Taiwan provides some $10 million a year to Palau in financial aid. "59-year-old pig farmer Jefferson is among many Palauians who have benefited from Taiwan's technical support over the years.
The most important assistance that I am taking it from them is that they are providing a piglet that are healthy and are most likely will survive. Before, I used to get the piglet from just other farmers in Palau.
Nearly all of Palau's pig and chicken farmers are working with Taiwan's technical mission, according to official data. These efforts have convinced ordinary Palauians like Ray and Jefferson that Taiwan is a friend worth having, at least for now. That's because in recent years, the tiny island nation is also seeing the rise of an alternative income source. Latest official data shows that China has become the biggest investor in Palau, accounting for about 50% of the country's foreign investment. Former Palau representative to Taiwan, Jackson Henry, is now a real estate agent. He said he has seen a rapidly growing Chinese presence in Palau.
I noticed that mainland Chinese are more aggressive. They take bigger risk. And even though there's no direct flight here, they still, invest quite a bit of money. And it goes all the way to the ocean. This is a waterfront property.
How big is it?
This is 10,800 square meters.
In the past 5 years, Chinese investments account for 80% of his business and are still growing. He said most of the money was from private investors rather than from the Chinese government.
We kind of put in a bad position So we have to maintain the status quo. But meantime, we like to have a trade relationship with mainland China because they bring a lot of tourists and investments. Yeah, it's unfortunate that Taiwan has this issue with mainland China. And a lot of Palauan people look at it as like two brothers fighting, over candy.
As a businessman, Mr. Henry says he welcomes investments from both China and Taiwan.
打打高尔夫啊，喝喝茶了，来了朋友呢，谈谈事儿，然后有两个办公室。
It's a sentiment shared by Chinese businessman Pan Da-ming. The 49-year-old investor said politics was the last thing on his mind when he leased this piece of land. He plans to develop the property into a service apartment because of its high yield potential.
政治跟投资没关系，就是说咱不管那些，咱也不参与政治，咱就喜欢嘛，做事情赚钱的事情嘛。你政治咱不去考虑，是说它到底跟不跟哪儿建交，只要是说它景色好，人文那个政治稳定，在这个国家是政治稳定的国家。
But the reality is not so straightforward. Palau was a US-administered territory after World War II until 1986, when it entered into the Compacts of Free Association, or COFA, agreement with the US, joining the Marshall Islands and Micronesia. COFA gives the US military access to these allies' vast maritime territory in the Pacific. In 2023, they agreed to new 20-year funding programs with the US. Under the renewed pact, Palau will receive economic assistance of $889 million for the span of 20 years through 2043. In February, amid fears of funding delays, the Palauan president wrote a letter to an unidentified U.S. senator, warning against what he alleged was economic coercion from China. The U.S. connection is hard to miss. Palau's presidential office, built with Taiwan's help, is nicknamed the Mini White House for the obvious reason. Occupying the building since 2021 is President Surangel Jr. To better understand Palau's place in the growing rivalry between the United States and China due to its relations with Taiwan, I sat down with the Palauan leader for an interview.
Mr. President, we know that Palau and Taiwan has established diplomatic ties since 1999. And how would you describe the 25-year relationship between the two sides?
Well, I think, to be very honest, the relationship between Palau and Taiwan has been a very important and vital relationship in really helping the economic development and the progress of our country. And we are very grateful to the partnership that we have with the government and the people of Taiwan, and just look forward to many years of continuing to work together to promote peace and prosperity.
And can you tell us what are your considerations in dealing with China?
We think it's important that as countries we respect each other's boundaries and especially the rule of law. And so we want to make sure that we continue to promote a rules-based order, but at the same time we have economic relations. Of course, it's a big trading partner. We have to work together, but let's respect each other's boundaries, territories, EEZs, and so forth. And I think that's what's really important to us.
Do you see any possible changes in the future, since China has been actively engaging in Palau in recent years?
The people in the business community and other government officials say, well, with China, the sky is the limit. You know, we should reconsider our options. But really, that's some sectors, some people believe that. However, Palau has always been very clear that we are friend to all, enemy to none, and our relationship with Taiwan is strong, it's solid, it's based on shared values and really shared commitment. So because of that, Palau's relationship with Taiwan has been unwavering.
So how big is the pressure on the government to switch ties to Beijing?
That pressure is constant. It doesn't stop. But I think the good news is that, if anything, it has gotten less and less. And really, if you would use the analogy, the agreement with the United States could be, you could say, the nail in the coffin to stop all those doubts. And our partnership with the United States, if anything, is stronger than ever. We want to continue to partner and build on that relationship with our allies to ensure that we have a free and open Indo-Pacific and maintain peace. And sometimes you see those influences, but I think if anything, what's come out of this is we are stronger together. And that is Palau, Taiwan, and the United States are stronger together. So we need to continue to build on that. Under
what circumstances would Palau consider switching ties to Beijing?
Oh, it's economic circumstances. One of the important discussions that I had with the United States is, yes, you already have our security, part of the homeland, protecting Palau. That's, you can say, defense or making sure that our borders are protected. But that's only part of the equation. We need to also focus on economic security. And the compact agreement, diversifying our economy, this is all focused on economic security. If you don't have economic security, that's when you get tempted to make the decisions that I believe would be detrimental to the future of Palau. Because sometimes we get lured by fast money, but really long-term repercussions to our ultimate security and prosperity.
And how have your relationship with the U.S. Affect your consideration in managing your relationship with Taiwan and China?
Our relationship with the United States has been solid. So I think we have the security arrangement, we have the compact arrangement that's already in place. Now it's about getting U.S. investment, Taiwan investment, to help stimulate the economy, to build a resilient economy that's diversified and healthy, that continues to deter, I think, our desires possibly to switch diplomatic relations and go with China.
Clearly, the U.S. is also interested in this part of the world. And how can Palau balance its own need against the geopolitical competition?
I would say that the pressure that comes from China is economics, right? So as long as we have a strong, resilient economy, the pressure is gone. And so the compact was a very important element in that. And now what we need to continue to build upon is, now that we have a strong base, let's bring in U.S. investment, let's bring in Taiwanese investment, bring in Taiwan tourists, to continue to build on that.
Palau, a tiny Pacific nation with a population of around 20,000 people, spans across 340 islands. Its coral reefs are one of the 7 underwater wonders of the world, boasting more than 300 species of coral and some 2,000 species of fish. All that makes it a popular destination for tourists from around the world. But like every other country, Palau's tourism industry took a severe hit during the 3 years when COVID-19 ravaged the world.
3, 2, 1.
When the pandemic subsided, the world slowly reopened. Taiwan became the first to launch a travel bubble with Palau in 2021. And when COVID-triggered travel restrictions were lifted in much of the world, Taiwan responded by increasing the number of flights to Palau.
Palau is very beautiful. We want to keep it like that so we don't touch, take, or break. We don't want to touch the coral. It's very delicate. Even a little touch like this will kill those little polyps.
Despite Taiwan's efforts, Palau's tourism recovery still falls short. The number of foreign visitors is less than 1/10 of the pre-pandemic levels. One group is conspicuously missing. Vance Policarp owns a diving center in Palau. He has been struggling to keep his business afloat.
Almost 95% of our business is from mainland China. So any disruptions or interference to that market impacts us. So the boycott, yes, I understood why there was a boycott, but at the same time, it kind of impacted me. And I'm kind of like, it is what it is. Hopefully that in the future that we can, work something out that where everybody can live happily ever,
Chinese tourists have stopped coming since as early as 2017, after China allegedly removed Palau from a list of approved destinations for its tour groups. The number of foreign arrivals dropped by nearly half, from around 160,000 to 100,000, according to Palau officials. It dealt a heavy blow to the island country's economy, as tourism accounts for around 40% of its GDP. While diving shop owner Vance didn't think Palau should switch ties to Beijing just for tourism income, he hoped Palau would establish closer economic ties with China.
I support both China and Taiwan. I hope in the future that both can work their differences out, including the US, so that way not only I, but the rest of Palau could benefit. Because again, it's a huge market and I think Palau can tap into it, but having these differences really limits us from moving forward as far as developing the country.
The sentiment is shared by other locals. 29-year-old Ekate is also an owner of a local diving center.
From a tourism perspective, we're open to the Chinese market, but we're also open to the Taiwan market. I think Palau has strong ties with Taiwan, and that's a good thing. But I don't think we should discriminate on what kind of tourism we bring into Palau, because Palau is a very international country.
China considers countries that still maintain official relations with Taiwan as interfering with its internal affairs.
任何国家、任何组织或个人都不要低估中国政府和中国人民捍卫国家主权和领土完整的坚强决心、坚定意志和强大能力，都不要妄想在台湾问题上越界踩线而不用付出代价。
Palau President Surangel Jr. accused China of economic coercion and weaponizing tourism to force his country to cut ties with Taiwan.
As one of the ambassadors told me from China, he said, with us, the sky is the limit. We have 1.4 billion people. The number of tourists we can give you, if you need 1 million tourists, we'll give you 1 million tourists. You want to build hotels, we'll build all the hotels you need. All you have to do is denounce Taiwan. And we've made a very, I think, strong stand that we will not do that.
But Mr. Whips and his policy for Taiwan will face a crucial test when the country goes to the polls in November. The Palauian leader will be seeking a second term in office, even as he warned against growing pressure within the government for the country to switch ties.
So as long as I'm president, I've already said no switching to China. I don't know if that's a good thing in this political year.
Meanwhile, in response to Mr. Whip's allegation that China will try to meddle in the country's upcoming election, A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said early June that China has no interest in interfering in the internal affairs of any country and urged Palau to uphold the One China principle.